Hey everybody, this is Russ Carson Jr., one of the genealogists here at Family Tree Nuts, and I'm at Fort Thomas, Kentucky at the old Fort Thomas military base. The area's military history goes all the way back to at least 1749, where we know we had a Native American battle here between the Cherokee and the Shawnee and the Miami. We know the Shawnee and the Miami were victorious in that battle, and they found a gravesite that has over 600 bodies in it. The area's United States military history starts in 1803, which in the next town over is Newport. The Newport Barracks was built in 1803, and in the 1880s had experienced a whole tremendous lot of flooding. So in the 1880s, the Army began to look for a different location. In 1887, General Philip Sheridan himself chose this exact location of about 111 acres here on top of the highlands that overlooks the Ohio River as the location for the new base. The area was named Fort Thomas after General George Henry Thomas, the Civil War general. He was a West Point graduate, served in the Mexican War and of course the Civil War, and was at some very important battles in the Civil War, to include Perryville, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, and of course Nashville. General Thomas continued to stay on as in the Army during the occupation, and was getting roped into politics and things, so he requested to be stationed in California, where in 1870 he passed away of a stroke. An interesting story about General Thomas is not one blood relative attended his funeral. General Thomas was actually from Virginia. His family was embarrassed of his service to the Union and was not willing to attend his funeral. He is buried in New York City. The area has several buildings that are still here from the original Army base that was here, to include this water tower behind me here, about 102 feet tall, and stores about 100,000 gallons of water. The mess hall is still here, the rec center and the stables are still here. Also too, we've got these two cannons that are located right here on either side of the water tower. You see the other one back behind me. Those cannons were seized in the Spanish-American War in Cuba and were brought here to this location as trophies. So here they are on the side of the road. What's neat is they have inscriptions on them that they were constructed in 1768 and 1769 in Barcelona, Spain. And here they sit. The base was used primarily as a depot and a enlistment and training facility, and as a military hospital, especially for the Spanish-American War, the World War I, and World War II. The base primarily shut down about 1946, and when most of the land was given to the Veterans Administration, and now there's a VA hospital that's right here on the location that we'll get to see here in a minute. And the base ceased operations in 1964 as a Army installation. There are several veterans that were stationed here at Fort Thomas. One of note is Samuel Woodfill, the most #1 decorated troop of World War I. And another, of course, is Paul Tibbets. He enlisted here, and later on he was the pilot that dropped the first atomic bomb. And another of note is my own personal great-grandfather and my own surname, Walter Carson. Walter Carson he enlisted twice in the Army, and he was enlisted from 1908 to 1911 in Columbus, Ohio is where he was stationed. And then later on, he re-enlisted in 1916 until 1920 and was stationed right here at Fort Thomas for the duration of his time. Some would say he's a real soldier. I know in the Marines we say he was a real Marine if he went up and down. Since he went in as a second enlistment, he came in as a corporal. He was promoted to a sergeant. We don't know why, but he eventually became a private first class, got promoted back to corporal, and was eventually discharged as a sergeant. So anyway, wanted to bring you to this historic location, and we're going to go take a look at some of the other buildings that are here. Now we're over to the center of the base. We are actually in front of the mess hall. You see across the street there's an amphitheater. Right over here is the base museum. Over in that direction, right over there, are the officers' quarters for flag ranked officers. And it's a nice little park right here. There's a lot of walking trails, park benches, and there's a playground over there also. The VA hospital is right down that road, and the stables are that way, which we're going to go take a look at here in a second. But I wanted to show you the mess hall, one of the original buildings right here. You see on the bricks behind me there, it's got many different names of soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen that have served in the military. Some of them have their dates of service, some of them have their dates of birth and death years. Also too, we've got the rock located right here, Fort Thomas Military Reservation, 1887 to 1964. Entered on the National Historic Places in 1986. So you can see the mess hall is really large. It's locked, and I did take a photo through a window as best as we can get, but it's just an open-aired mess hall inside there, but still used for parties, wedding receptions, and things like that. But it's really neat because I can look in there and see where my great-grandfather ate his chow, just like I did when I was in the Marine Corps. So anyway, I'll take you to a couple more locations over here and we'll check it out. We're at the base stables. You can see it's built like many other stables of the time period, with all the open windows and such, and this is where the base would have stored their horses. Of course, the base was founded in 1890, so we weren't mechanized until even after World War I, so this would have been a very popular place for the soldiers to come and check out their horses and train with them here at this location. Right now, it is right across the street from the VA Medical Hospital right there behind us. It's also looks like down over the hill is Highlands High School's soccer field. Right behind that tree line over there, you can see there is a Army Reserve station, and you see behind the barracks there, or the stables, they've got some military vehicles that are stored there. So one of the remaining buildings that's still here from the original 1890s, and wanted to bring that to you. So now we'll sign off from here and check out our last location, the rec center and the armory. We're now at our last stop on our tour here, and we're in front of the base armory and recreation center. You see, we started over in that direction over there. That's where the mess hall was, right through those trees. The base stables were down this way with the VA hospital. So we're right here in the middle for the Armory and the Recreation Center. It says that the campus was set up to resemble a college campus and encourage fitness. The base did have a baseball team and basketball programs, and it said that even had a football team, and I think it was 1906, took on the University of Cincinnati and lost 6-0 in a football game. So let's go inside here and take a look and see what we've got inside the Armory and the Recreation Center. So we walk inside and we've got the Armory here on the first floor. We go up the steps. You see behind me here, you've got the large basketball court inside here. What's pretty neat about this specific basketball place is my own great-grandfather, we found a newspaper article where he was on the base basketball team. This is a neat place that, for me, because I'm able to see where my own great-grandfather shot some hoops. The area right here was also used in the 1977 Beverly Hills Supper Club fire, where I believe it was 165 people were killed and over 200 were injured. And this area here was used as a makeshift morgue for that time period. So you can imagine that. Now it's there's no air condition, but it's a really nice basketball court. So this is our last stop on our trip here at historic Fort Thomas. I hope you enjoyed it, and let us know if you have any questions and some other places you'd like to go to or like us to see. So remember, family tree nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.